everyone and welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I'm going to be jumping on Tier Maker and I'm going to be ranking AFL teams in 3 different tiers based on the 2022 AFL season so far. The 3 tiers are exceeded expectations, an as expected season, and underperformed. So it's pretty self-explanatory how I'm going to rank these teams, the criteria based on the tier names. And yeah, let's get right into it. Okay, I'm going to go with a few obvious ones first. I think Melbourne have had an as expected season. I think West Coast have underperformed. I think North Melbourne, based on how good the back end of last year was, I reckon they have underperformed. I think Carlton have probably exceeded expectations. Collingwood have massively exceeded expectations, and then probably Fremantle have exceeded expectations. I think Collingwood and Fremantle are probably the 2 biggest teams in that criteria, because I think people forget Collingwood were consistently in the pre-season lap predictions in the bottom 4. You cannot underestimate how the rise of Collingwood in season 2022. Greater Western Sydney massively underperformed after winning an elimination final a cracker last year against the Swans by a point. To have, a bottom 4 season, I mean, it's just an up and down season. Ever since Leon Cameron's left, they've been playing better footy, but not much better. That performance against Port Adelaide, from what I've heard about, I didn't watch the game, but bloody hell, it was embarrassing. The first half of the season, obviously, under Leon Cameron was an absolute shambles. Got rid of him. Mark McVeigh got them playing better footy on a consistent string of weeks, but they just weren't getting they're not getting the results. So, yeah, a massively underperforming season for the Giants, who made finals last year, which also goes for Essendon, an underperforming season. What happened to the Bombers after making finals last year, having one of the most up-and-coming, exciting young lists in the competition? It's just mind-boggling where Essendon have come to. I think St Kilda were expected to just go and fight, maybe just rise into the 7th or 8th position. 7th to 9th is probably where I'd put the Saints pre-season. And I think that they are having an as-expected season, St Kilda. Maybe the first half of the year was exceeding expectations, considering they were in a top 4 race, but their really poor form string of games, their inconsistency even, probably ranks them down to an as-expected season. And I think Carlton could maybe even slip down to the tier below, but we'll have a look at that later. The Crows were a weird one, because I'm not sure if you remember, but earlier on in the year, we were having finals talks. I think the Crows beat the Bulldogs and Ballarat. They put together a good string of games. They only lost to the Dockers by a point in Adelaide. The Crows were looking really good under Matthew Nicks, and then their season just took a massive tumble. I think it is an as-expected season, because they haven't risen a lot on the ladder position, but as a football side, they have improved. And that's what was expected pre-season. The Brisbane Lions now in jeopardy of missing the top 4. I still think it was an as-expected season. They should make the top 4 still, Brisbane, but it is in jeopardy with Collingwood right on their tail. It is just such an even competition. Brisbane realistically should comfortably be in the top 4, but with a few silly losses in a season like this, it puts that spot in jeopardy. But I still do think it's an as-expected season. The Cats are a really weird one, because their footy at the moment is probably exceeding expectations to where we thought they could. I mean, we always knew that Geelong could play footy like this. They've been up the top for so long. Although it is an outstanding season from the Cats, I'm going to put them as an as-expected season, because we all know how good the Cats really are, and their class at the show. The Gold Coast Suns, if there's ever a team to exceed expectations, there were that many people before the year on the ladder predictions put the Suns as the wooden spooners. But they proved all the doubters wrong, and they are looking for not only the best season in the club's history, but for their first ever final spot. Obviously Noah Anderson on the weekend, arguably the best club win in history. Noah Anderson after the siren versus the Tigers, 4 goals in the last 4 minutes, down by 40. Anderson after the siren, incredible scenes at Metricon. But yeah, the Suns definitely have exceeded expectations. Hawthorn, I'm actually going to go exceeded expectations for the Hawks. Obviously, they're not in an amazing position, but if you actually watch them play, they play some pretty good footy. I reckon I said it when they lost to the Dockers by 14 points. They're the best 4-9 side I've ever seen. I don't know how a team that was so good against Fremantle, and semi-consistently actually performs pretty well can have such a poor record. It's just, yeah, I think Hawthorn have definitely exceeded expectations this year, especially with the back end of last year and bringing a new coach after so long with Clarkson at the Realms. I think, yeah, Hawthorn have done really well to get themselves in a position like this season. Port Adelaide underperforms, top 4 consistently for a couple of years, and then they've just gone down the drain to a mid to lower table side. Obviously that 0-5 start didn't help them. They had 7 wins in 8 games or something, which got their season back on track, but the 0-5 start purely puts them in underperforms, because realistically there's no chance of finals now. Richmond are weird, because a lot of people had expectations that they'd be back to their premiership best, but then people like myself had them just around that 9th to 10th range, which Richmond probably still are at. So I'm just going to chuck him in as expected season. The Swans, I'm also going to chuck in as expected. I think it was a bit of a premature top 4 push last year from Sydney. Now they're just kind of floating around the bottom end of the 8. Could still make top 4 if they make a push, with teams like Brisbane slipping up. But yeah, the Swans, just a normal season for them, kind of. They could have challenged for top 4, but it's such a young list, and they've done so well with what they have, the Swans. Yeah, it's probably an as expected season. Then the Western Bulldogs, I'll chuck them in underperformed grand final last year, and well, there's a very, very big chance they won't make finals. Yeah, the Bulldogs. I think there was a stat the other day. I think every time they've made a grand final in their history, they haven't made the finals the year after. Absolutely incredible scenes, and it looks like it's going to happen again. I'm going to... I was about to move Carlton down, but they have really exceeded expectations, although they are just floating around that middle of the 8. So, yeah, if you did enjoy it, it'd mean the absolute world if you could hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 5,000 subscribers. We'll try to get there as soon as we can, and your help would be much appreciated. Also, like the video if you did enjoy it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.